So we got another person coming in to join us here because where we're going next. Graham, have you heard about the agreement for the Bernie Sanders delegates? Have you seen this online yet?
No, I really, honestly, after Bernie sold out and watching these believe all women types then smear Tara Reade, I really don't have much time for this utterly corrupt Democratic Party and their rape apology and Bernie selling us out. So, I mean, it's kind of funny to watch what bullshit is happening. And I don't even follow Bernie's tweets because he's everything.
Oh, I don't follow anyone.
Yeah, it's hard because every one of their progressive tweets, I'm always like, yeah, but why did you back Biden then? Why did you give up? Like,
well, not just that, but why are you fighting for this? You know, like that's my big thing. And that's why I've gotten to the point, and I actually did a video on this yesterday where I was just like, you know what? I know it's a small thing, but it's something. Stop liking any politician's tweet. Do not like their tweets. Don't like them. Because every time a politician puts out a tweet, even if it's something you agree with, it should just be ratioed of people going, hey, that's great. Are you fighting for this? What are you doing? Where's the legislation? Where's the piece of legislation I can call my congressperson to nag them to support this? Is
and
this
unfollow them?
Oh yeah, I don't follow any of them. I pretty much don't follow any of them. But yeah, like it's okay. Where can I call? Where can I flood someone's inbox? It's not legislation. It's just you tweeting something nice. Not good enough. I don't care that you're tweeting nice things.
Yeah,
because I'm at the point now where I feel like there is an office of appeasement inside our government that's not talked about. And it's just a bunch of elected officials tweeting nice things to make it seem like they're fighting for them. And I'm sick of it. I ain't playing that game anymore. But so this happened. They have these requirements for Bernie Sanders delegates where you have to address Joe Biden as my grace. And you cannot, no eye contact. And you don't have to, like, if he asks you to kiss his ring, you have to do it, but you don't have to do it right away. Like it's like if you see him, you don't have to you can't look at him. You don't have to immediately go. But if he puts his hand out first, which you got to like just be looking like at his chest or something, you can't look him in the eye to see that. But if you just, if he has it, then you have to like kiss the ring. And outside of that, you're a delegate. And here's some of the verbiage, and we're going to bring in a former Bernie delegate from 2016, and who is trying to be a Bernie delegate again in California's 33rd. This is Alexis Adelstein. Alexis, are you with us?
Hello.
Hey, man, how are you? So let's take a look at this.
I can't hear anything.
You cannot hear anything.
You guys can hear me.
We can hear you just fine, but you can't hear anything?
I seem to be able to hear somebody in the background breathing.
Are you muted?
There we go. No, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Okay. All right. You can hear both of us? Good, man. How are you? Can you not hear us again?
Unfortunately, I can't hear Ron if he's talking right now.
Oh, I am talking. Graham, can you hear me?
Ron, I can hear you, and I can hear Alexis, both of you.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. So
I can only hear you. Is it Graham, right?
Yeah.
All right, we'll go ahead and try to sort this out. Alexis, I'm going to put you on hold here, and we're going to try to sort this out. And in the meantime, we're going to go to the document. All right, so check this out. Sanders campaign agreements puts limits on interviews and social media. So here's the rules. Now, some of these are just, in my opinion, fine. Like, okay, that's fair for a delegate to agree to this. But there's a couple things in here a lot of people are pretty upset about. So number one, assume everything you post is on the record and will be attributed to the candidate in the campaign. All right, you're a delegate. Okay.
Sure.
Delegates for the campaign are encouraged to share campaign-approved content on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and other social media platforms. Okay. Do your best to avoid online arguments or confrontations. If engaging in an adversarial conversation, be respectful when addressing opposing viewpoints or commenting on the opposition. All right, again, you're representing a campaign. You want to get these ideas out there. Yeah. All right, here's the one that a lot of people are kind of like, ooh, we're doing a double take. Refrain from making negative statements about other candidates, party leaders, campaigns, campaign staffers, supporters, news organizations, or journalists.
Whoa. Oh,
This campaign is about the issues and finding solutions to America's problems. Our job is to differentiate the senator from his opponents on the issues, not through personal attacks. Now, if it would have said, when you're engaging about the issue, please try to avoid personal attacks, that'd be one thing. You know, I mean, that'd be one thing. When you're engaging in differences of opinion and you're engaging on the issues, try to avoid personal attacks. Keep it issues driven because you represent the campaign. That's one thing. But to say you can't say anything negative about a campaign,
it's I'm not surprised because I mean, look, Bernie bailed and endorsed Joe Biden, AOC. None of them called out the UN said this Democratic primary had all the earmarks of a rigged election. The UN said it, but Bernie and AOC can't. And I mean, even Tulsi kind of said it, but then they all backed Joe Biden. Of course I don't care. Like electoral politics, Bernie, this 2020 run from Bernie was the last shot I was going to give this utterly corrupt party and corrupt two-party system and our corrupt process. And so this is just more, it's such nonsense. It is just like we are facing complete climate collapse. And we have less than 10 years to take drastic actions. The kind of drastic actions the whole world has just taken the last 2 months to stop a pandemic. We need to take actions like that in terms of preventing the human race from dying. And we're going to have task force and this Mickey Mouse nonsense. Like, I had a Bernie Frisbee and all this stuff. Man, I just put it in the recycling. I'm done. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. This Mickey Mouse nonsense. And just like, let's set up a committee to open up a task force and a subcommittee to, in the minutes from the memo to the meeting of the committee with the meeting, and then we'll make a sub-hearing and then have a kind of a vote.
Well, isn't there there's that famous quote, though, all real change starts with a focus group. Didn't Chomsky say that? Isn't that one of his?
Yes. I think it was Susan B. Anthony that said what we really need to get women the right to vote is a task force and a committee.
Task force and a committee.
Yeah. I think that's what happened. I think that's when Rosa Parks, the reason she sat in the front of the bus was because she was she wanted to start a steering committee to open up a broader conversation about the potential of maybe stopping Jim Crow laws. That's why she did that. That's
how I recall it too. It's so crazy. I'm reading Thomas Frank's new book right now, which is all about the history of populism. Real populism, not what we're sold as, not the misconceptions of populism that people have, but actual populism that was grassroots and for and by the working people. And we've been going through the same cycles from basically 1896 and probably even further back than that to present, where the same thing happens, where it's like workers start to stand up and they start to really demand representation. And then through a big wave of propaganda and stifling, they're stamped out again. And now we're amidst another movement. And every single time this movement happened the first time, it was painfully apparent that we needed a new party, that we needed an actual alternative, that we needed something by and for the people, and we got stamped out every time. Meanwhile, it was populism that nationalized the railroad, that made it what it was back in the day. It was populism that did that. It was populism that really pushed for women to get the right to vote. It was populism that really pushed for fair representation for farmers, as far as what they were getting for their crops, because they used to be totally ripped off back in the day. And then that had to change for at least a while. It was populism that made all of that a reality, that got like the labor unions, that got workers' rights. I mean, it was populism leading that charge. It was populism and third parties leading those charges that, were successful to an extent, but of course were stifled every step along the way. And now we're seeing that happen again. And it's like, look, a reformer can't lead a revolution. That's the truth. There's a place for a reformer, but it ain't leading a revolution. So, you know, you want to endorse something for a revolution. Here's what you endorse. You endorse general strike.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's try to bring in Alexis one more time. I think
Sure.
he made some adjustments here. Let's see if we can get him. Alexis, are you there? Can you hear me? Alexis, are you there? Can you hear me? I'm guessing no. All right. Well, all right. We'll try to get him back on the show in a future time. But so the number 4 thing is the big thing. Let's go through the other ones. Delegates should not post or text photos related to the campaign events and activities unless it is text or photos of the public.
Hey, Ron, I'll just say this. Like, if he says he can only hear one at a time, if you want me to punch out and he comes in, I can do that. Well,
I don't think he could hear me at all. He said, I can hear Graham.
Right. He said, I can only hear one at a time is what he put in the chat. But I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think he could hear me at all.
Okay.
So let's see here, because I was the only one talking and I think he still couldn't hear.
Okay. No worries.
But I'll ask him, and, you know, I mean, we can always reschedule. It's no big deal. But so number 5 was delegates should not post or text photos related to campaign events and activities unless it is text or photos of the public-facing side of an open press event, i.e. no posts from backstage, nothing which reveal process, nothing from closed press events. If you are unsure, do not post without permission. Like, all right. I mean, that seems a little bit like, well, what are people really going to do? That's a big deal. But, like, okay. I mean, I can see that to an extent. Delegates for the campaign should not use social media to promote upcoming events until they're public. All right. That's okay. I mean, a lot of these are like totally standard and something you would just expect delegates to have to follow and aren't really that big of a thing. But, dude, number 4, come on. Refrain from making negative statements about other candidates, party leaders, campaigns, campaign staffers, anybody who has had a positive thought about Joe Biden before in their life, supporters, news organizations, or journalists. I mean, what just give them a smiley face to hold up. Are you kidding?
Yeah. Well, this is the whole, I mean, look, you know, you and I both, we've all talked about this. Until the left acknowledges how bad the Obama-Biden years were, we're going to keep getting Trump or a version of Trump or whatever. Like we're
going to keep running around in circles.
We're going to keep running around in circles. They refuse to do it. Bernie wouldn't do it. AOC won't do it. The squad won't do it. None of them will do it. So the Democratic Party and they're just as bad as the Republicans. We need to just circumvent and get away from them because they will not, you cannot reform from within. It is literally, if you think you can reform the Democratic Party from within, then please, please, please join a drug cartel and get them to switch from selling drugs to like baby formula or chocolate or candy or something like that, or vegan smoothies, and see how effective you are. Just please try that. See what happens. The reform.
Get the drug cartel to change to vegan smoothies.
Yes.
That's funny. You got to write that down.
All right.
That's pretty funny. You got to remember that because live comedy is going to be a thing someday. It's coming back, Graham.
I hope so.
It's going to be a thing someday again. I don't know when exactly, but it will happen again. I had a dream the other night that I was at a stand-up show, I think it was actually at Flappers, and I got on stage and just totally forgot what to do. Like it was an anxiety dream. Like I just got on stage and I was just like, oh shit, I don't. Do you guys say something first? Like what have? Welcome to Get Your News On With. No, that's not it. Shit. I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
I need a baby cradle for my talking stick.
I need a So check this out. Fiorella tweeted this, which we're going to have Fiorella and the Convo Couch crew on this show soon to talk about this. I will not be part of the charade. This is fascism. Censorship of speech is not at all welcome in my political world. I also give zero fucks about what the neoliberal piece New York Times posts. This is no longer a progressive campaign. Any participating is perpetuating a lie. And she circled number 4 along with some other things because there's, here, let's take a look at this. So there's more detail than what the Washington Post put out. So here's some other things that she shared that she got. So assume everything you post is on record will be attributed to the candidate in the campaign. Oh, wait, so this is the stuff. And then assume everything is confidential unless explicitly told otherwise. All delegates for the campaign are required to follow these practices. And then this part here, before tweeting or posting from your personal social media account, ask yourself these questions. If this appeared on the front page of the New York Times, would it compromise Bernie Sanders' message, credibility, or reputation? Could it potentially risk your standing as a delegate? When retweeting or sharing information from others, are you applying necessary skepticism? So, here's the thing, though. The New York Times has willingly smeared the Bernie campaign from day one.
Yeah.
So you're basically bending the knee to them when you say stuff like that. Well, could the New York Times possibly misconstrue this and use it to smear you? Probably yes. If you say anything other than God bless the USA and Bernie Sanders is my preferred choice, although I think all of them are great. If you say anything other than that, the New York Times could somehow use it against you.
Oh.
So you're supposed to walk on eggshells to appease them, which, by the way, one of the many, many reasons Joe Biden is such a terrible candidate and he's the nominee, one of the many, many reasons is because no one laid a glove on the guy. Not Bernie, not anyone else. No one went at the guy because as a country, we've forgotten what a primary is supposed to be. What a primary is supposed to be is that candidates duke it out on the issues to get the strongest candidate that the base wants as the nominee. What the primary has become is just basically a charade for the DNC to anoint somebody, and it's going to be their chosen one that they anoint. And it's so out in the open now, they're even talking about the idea of like, hey, we might just pass the crown to Andrew Cuomo because we freaking feel like it. And no one's saying, wait a second, don't we elect our candidate? Don't we elect our nominee? Isn't that a thing we do here? Oh, apparently not. And people are just taking this.
It's, it's such a joke. Like in such a short amount of time, Bernie Sanders has gone from this like guy that we were all rallying around to this like utter joke. I mean, it's a joke. It's just preposterous. And he owes me money. So does Tulsi Gabbard. I don't.
How much do I owe you, Graham?
Yeah.
How much do I owe you? What do you need? What do you need? $5?
$1,000 endorse a rapist with dementia service fee.
Can I buy you a vegan smoothie? We'll call it even. We'll go surfing.
Yeah, my friend Joe Biden.
We'll go surfing with my friend Joe Biden.
It's preposterous. Like I can't even. It's such a joke, and this thing it's even more of a joke. Like the Democratic Party, Trump. If Bernie stood up and did the thing we thought he was going to do, the thing he kind of said he was going to do, and used this moment as the pandemic to go, I'm the guy. Yeah. I'm the one to lead you. We all need Medicare for all. We need $2,000 UBI, student debt forgiveness. I'm the guy to lead us out of this. I'm the guy to do this. Trump is bumbling his way through this. He's the most beautiful.
He has no clue what's going on. He has no idea what's going on.
Instead, the Democrats do nothing, and then Nancy Pelosi talks about all the ice cream in her millionaire, fridge kitchen.
Well, that's the one thing they're doing. The one thing they're doing is they're giving Trump cannon fodder. They're just handing him. I mean, look at the ad that Trump's campaign made just from that ice cream incident.
And Trump,
look at the ad they made. That's only the beginning.
That's the beginning.
Oh my God, dude, it's going to be so ugly.
Say a word in that ad. The only time you saw Trump's name was at the very end because they legally have to say paid for. He didn't have to say a word. He didn't have to give a policy point. He didn't have to say this is why. He didn't have to say anything. He didn't have to say make America great. He just said let her talk and we'll show the reality of what Americans are going through. That's all they just let them, and the Democrats, and then they sign this thing. And it's the most, but the opportunity here is if somebody joins a third, like Nina or Jesse Fender run as Greens or Movement for a People's Party. If Nina doesn't leave the Democratic Party, then I will lump her into the category as everybody else. Because right now she's saying little things. She's signing up with the Movement for People's Party. But This is the opportunity. It's like people are like, now's not the time for a revolution. That's right. Revolutions always happen when everything's going great. I keep
Right. When
repeating
things
that.
are fine.
Every time we've had a revolution, it's like the economy was great. People weren't in trouble. There was no crises. That's every time we've always had a revolution. It's like everyone was doing well, you know? So
Anybody who says now's not the time for a revolution, I just want to look at them and say, if not now, when?
When?
I mean, look around you. If we're facing climate collapse, we have an Overton window that is so far to the right, they needed to buy a new camera to zoom out far enough. We have never-ending war. Our military empire is reaching absurd amounts of insanity at this point, to where the numbers are just baffling at an inconceivable level, and it's making a handful of evil people very rich, while the rest of us, barely have a dime to our names. We've eliminated the middle class. It's over. There is no more middle class. It's not a thing. If not now, when? Yeah. When is it time for a revolution?
When?
Like, you're nuts.
When are we? The Afghan papers came out in December. We're not talking about that. Like, when is it? Like, all the Epstein flight logs. I mean, when are we going to talk about? When is the time? Like, when none of it. When we're all living on the street, is that when we'll have the revolution? When there's no more breathable air, is that when maybe we'll get a committee and a task force? And when the fuck is this? When is this going to happen?
Yeah, it's so frustrating. So what Fiorella is doing, and we're going to follow up with her on this, when the time is right, see what happens with this. Myself and another burner wrote this petition against the censorship imposed on delegates by the Sanders campaign. We do not stand with the way this entire process was conducted. We will not support any Bernie 2020 delegates effort unless changes are made. And there is a change.org petition where you can kind of voice your opposition to this policy. And, who knows? Who knows what this is going to look like? Like, who knows what we've talked about this because, we had originally, had plans to be there and things are still up in the air, but who knows what the convention is going to look like, if it's going to look like anything. And I have a feeling it's like, this is just a ticket for them to do as much behind closed doors as they can.
The minute the pandemic started to get bad, when we were on the road heavy in February, you and I doing our tour and doing Jimmy's show, we were all like, I said, here's what they're going to use this pandemic. The convention's going to be behind closed doors and they're going to do whatever they want. And guess what's going to happen? Hillary Clinton's going to emerge. Watch out. She's coming. She cannot wait to get in here. All of a sudden, the mainstream media is starting to point out Joe Biden's dementia and stuff like that after Bernie concedes. This has all the earmarks of Clinton-style maneuvering. Biden won't be the nomination come November. It'll be like Clinton and Cuomo or some shit like that.
Yeah,
and they'll do it all behind closed doors. And so this delegate scam sheet or whatever this nonsense is, this thing.
I think that's the official name, actually. I think it's called a scan sheet. A scam sheet. It's a pandemic scam sheet.
If I had a bird, I wouldn't put it at the bottom of my bird cage because I'd be afraid that the bullshit would rise up and kill my bird. So this is all nonsense and it's all theater, and it'll be Clinton versus Trump 2.0 because that'll be great for ratings.
Oh, you really think so?
Yeah.
Oh, dude. I think Biden's going to stick it out, and I think he's going to lose pretty handily. And I still think, even despite what happened on MSNBC recently, I still think that that Stacey Abrams is going to be the VP pick.
Maybe, but yeah, that ticket will get crushed.
Oh, I think so too. Yeah, I think
that happens. I mean, I hope I'm wrong because the Clintons are goddamn evil, but even if it is Biden and Stacey Abrams, that ticket will get crushed by Trump. He'll just he'll make fun of his dementia in a debate. I mean, Trump will put out ads showing that Joe's not competent.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like when you go so soft on this guy, now he's up there and it's like you're going up against a guy that's not going to go soft on you at all. I mean, just looking at it, setting aside all of the corruption and all of the cheating and just looking at it from like the standpoint of politics, it is so utterly stupid Like
Yeah.
just so utterly stupid. It's like the equivalent of, you're training for this big boxing match where you're fighting one of the most lethal boxers in the world or whatever, like someone who's not afraid to fight dirty, someone who's not afraid to bite all the rules. And this dude is he's going to bite your ankle if he has to. He's going to do whatever. He's going to take low shots to the groin, and the referee is clueless and isn't going to do anything. And to train the guy, you're like, yeah, just do 10 sit-ups a day. You're good. I mean, it's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the primary process is the candidate gets completely vetted so that then when they get to the general, there's no more surprises. But they're going to,
we do the opposite now. It's unreal.
They would, I mean, look, the whole country's starving to death. The whole country can't work. The whole country's in lockdown, and Pelosi and everybody's on vacation eating ice cream.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your news on with Ron.